Hey guys, hopefully y'all have done the warm up and copied this empire model into your notebooks. And so, what we're going to do today is I'm going to give y'all a real quick overview of China. So, what it looked like in the classical period under the Han Dynasty, which is all what's here on this map, and then show y'all what changed after the collapse of the Han and how we go to the Sui Tang Song dynasties. And we're going to go annotate this so that way we can look at continuity and change. Like, what are they keeping? What's staying the same? And then what are they getting rid of? So first off, quick overview of Han China. This was a classical Chinese dynasty. They had an emperor who ruled underneath the concept of the mandate of heaven. What the mandate of heaven is that the gods determine that you should rule and you only get to stay in charge so long as you're doing a good job. So if you had a peasant revolt and they came and overthrew you, well, obviously you lost the mandate or your peasants wouldn't have revolted. Okay, so their capital was Chang'an. The entire government was based around Confucianism, which is one of the philosophies that emerged during the Warring States period. So this was set up by Confucius. Things to know about that is that there are 5 relationships that you have to follow, so it's keeping society very, very organized. They believe in filial piety, ancestor veneration, so you need to respect your elders and look up to your ancestors. In order to get a government position, you had to pass what was called the civil service exam. This is a really hard 3-day test that very, very few people pass, and the only way that you're going to pass it is if you're educated and can go to school. But in theory, anybody could take the test and anybody could pass. It's just not the reality. So then you'd get bureaucrats who would become administrators of the provinces, and they would swear allegiance to the emperor. Other things that the Han Dynasty had, just to kind of give you a real quick overview, they're the ones who kind of start the Silk Road, and that's how you're going to move troops throughout your empire. It's going to be like the premier trading route of the classical period. They're also going to have standardized laws and currency, and that's going to help again with trade. They build irrigation systems and dams, and ultimately they end up collapsing because you have peasant revolts, and then they get invaded by a group called the Xiongnu. And so because they kept getting invaded, they built this big old wall in China. So the Great Wall was never really built as originally this huge wall that went all across the northern border of China. It was just like little bitty sections of it that eventually gets built upon and fixed. And then ultimately, later, it will be connected and become the Great Wall that we know about. Okay, so real quick overview of the Han. Now let's get into changing this up. It's not the world's best color because it's not going to pop up and be pretty. Let's see. What do I got here? All right. Now we're going to look at the Sui Tang Song or Sui Tang Song. Okay, these are our new dynasties. I'm grouping them all together because this way doesn't last very long. They really only do one thing that's important. Tang and the Song kind of get lumped together because it's viewed as like the golden age-ish of China. So that's where we are with this. Like I said, when I get to the one thing that these guys do, I'll point it out to you. All right, so still have an emperor. That's not changing. Still have the mandate of heaven. This is how you are going to rule China forever and ever and ever and ever. They're also going to add another capital, like in the south of China, Hangzhou. Okay, so know that both of these are important cities. They're both capitals. In addition to having all this, and as China's expanding and they're coming into their own, like I said, this is the height of their power during this period. They start to consider themselves what they call the Middle Kingdom. And what the Middle Kingdom is, this is China viewing itself as literally like the center of the world. They are in the middle of everything. They are the most important. Everybody else is kind of superfluous. Nobody really cares about what's going on anywhere else. Nobody has anything of value to them. So they are the most important, and any map that you're going to see ends up having like them in the middle. Okay. We are still using the civil service exam to train our bureaucrats. We're really going to kind of get rid of these Confucian schools, though. It's not going to be as big of a deal to go to specific schools anymore, but it's still there. Okay. One thing that China is going to do during this period, especially during the Tang and the Song dynasties, is they are going to expand, and they're going to go start looking to the neighboring kingdoms around there and taking over. So they're going to set up, once they go conquer outside people, they're going to go set up what's called a tribute system. So you're going to write this outside, because this relates to the people outside of their empire. So you have China, who is demanding tribute as the Middle Kingdom. Like, we are gracing you with our presence. Be thankful that we have conquered you and taken you over, because worse things could happen. And so you need to give us tribute, either money or crops or something else like that. So there were three main areas or groups that China demanded tribute from. One was Vietnam. And we're going to read an article about that. The second was Korea, and we're going to talk about them. And the other one was the Uyghurs. Okay, these are a group of Muslims that live in China that eventually caused lots of problems for the Chinese dynasty. Okay, so these are the three empires that China is demanding tribute from at this point. One of the things that China gets as tribute that is going to be instrumental for the transformation of their society is a crop that comes from Vietnam, or Nam Viet. And this is a little bowl. And then hold on. And it is champa rice. Okay, why champa rice is so important? Champa rice is important because it's a fast ripening rice, and you can get multiple harvests in a year versus the traditional rice variety that was grown in China. And so what that is going to do, anytime you have more food, you're going to end up having more people. So you are going to see this huge increase in population in China. Another thing that they end up doing is they're going to establish what's called the equal field system. And this is just to make sure that there is enough land for everyone to farm. Eventually, this practice kind of dies out, and it's going to be one of the things that hurts China. Like I said, it's called the equal field system. Okay, one thing that crops need, right, is going to be irrigation. So we're still using the irrigation systems, and we're still using the dams that are already in place. But the problem with China is its major rivers for transporting goods run east to west. So there's not really a good way to move products north and south. So here's the one thing that the Sui dynasty did that it's known for, and this is super, super important. So here are our rivers that exist in China that run east to west. So what they're going to do is build what's called the Grand Canal. Okay, so this is going to connect northern and southern China. It's going to be a way for them to move troops, to move goods. This is going to be like the major thoroughfare in China. Like I said, it's the one thing that they end up doing that you need to know them for. Okay, as far as religions go, because China is going to be in a prime location because of trade Indian Ocean trade starts to develop more at this time. You still have like some limited usage of the Silk Road. It's not as big as it was. You're going to get new religions come in. So one of the first religions to come into China was Buddhism. Okay, Buddhism is kind of frowned upon in China very much so because because it is counterproductive to Confucian ideas of hierarchy, and that's what the whole empire is based on. You get Chan Buddhism, which is the same thing as Zen Buddhism in China. Then eventually Islam is going to come in. And like I said, our Uyghurs down here at the bottom, they were Islamic. And so again, that's going to run contrary to Confucianism. So eventually over time, you're going to get what's called a syncretic religion. So it's going to be a blending of two different things. And we are going to get Neo-Confucianism. So it's going to be basically a mix of some Buddhist elements mixed with Confucianism to kind of balance out the two. All right, moving down here. All right, like I said, because this is the height of China, we're going to have lots of technology. We're going to have a lot of innovations in regards to the economy so that we can help stimulate trade. So over here with our standardization of laws and currency, this isn't going anywhere. We're just going to expand on it. One of the things that they are going to do, just like we saw in our Islamic caliphates, they are going to start using checks and letters of credit as a way of making trade safer. We're also going to have what's called, okay, this is a dollar bill with some wings on it. We have what's called flying money. Which is basically just paper money. Okay, so it's my little dollar sign with wings. As we start to have more of this trade develop, you have more and more people starting to move into the cities because this is where your opportunities are. So you are going to see a lot of urbanization. Okay, and that's also going to have to do with the population increase from new crops. Okay, so lots and lots of people in China. Because of urbanization, you're going to see a lot of new things in your cities. You want places for people to go, things for them to do, not just trading and stuff. So you do see taverns start to pop up. Okay, and then we are going to also have, let me draw another little bowl down here. Like I tell you, my artistic skills are fantastic. We are going to have noodle houses. And this is going to help aspects of Chinese culture end up going to other countries and catching on. Okay, as far as technology, because like I said, the Tang and the Song are like the height of technological innovation for China. All right, so for technology, we are going to get gunpowder. Ooh, that should be a P. Gunpowder. And pretty fireworks. Okay, so we're going to have gunpowder. I was like, what is that picture that I drew on my paper? But now I know what it is. We're going to get movable type so that you can actually print things in mass quantities. This is way before Gutenberg in Europe and the printing press. Okay, they are also going to invent a very accurate clock. Wonderfully mechanized clock that's using steam and all kinds of stuff. We are also going to see the invention of what's called the south pointing needle, also known as a compass. Iron production during China. This is super, super important. And then the other thing, again, wonderful artistic skills here. Yeah. Porcelain. There's a nice little cup. Nice little teacup. Which in other places is known as fine china because it comes from China. Okay. Other things that end up happening in China. We are going to see the reinforcement of Confucian principles, especially in regards to women and patriarchy. So one of the things that we get during this period is, and it's a weird little shoe, but that's okay, is foot binding. The whole idea behind foot binding is starting from like the age of 5 or 6, you keep breaking a young girl's foot and wrapping it, then you unwrap it and clean it, and then you break it some more, and then you wrap it. So it's constantly staying compressed. So the idea is you want to have a 3-inch foot. Okay, so 3 inches. That's it. Okay. That's as big as the foot. That's how big your foot was supposed to be. 3 inches. Okay. You can't walk. You are totally dependent on someone to carry you around. So it is totally reinforcing patriarchy. Okay. And like I said, that ties in hand with Confucian principles. Okay. Eventually, China is going to see peasant revolts. They are going to see invasion from outsiders. Okay, one of the things that they have to learn to deal with from outsiders trying to attack their wall. Okay, other groups learn siege warfare. Okay, so like you have catapults and stuff that they're going to use and come attack their empire with. Gone are the Xiongnu. Not going to worry about them anymore. We do have the Uyghurs. Okay, the same group that was down here that was demanding tribute from China, or that China was demanding tribute from, they end up coming in, attacking, and demanding tribute from China so that they don't attack anymore. And then, other thing to note about these lovely nomadic groups is, like I said, they are able to come in using horses and bows and arrows to pretty much take down China. But the group that finally does them in, that takes over the Song dynasty, is going to be the wonderful exception of the Mongols, who are going to come in and set up the Yuan dynasty, which is one of 2 times that outsiders end up ruling over China. And we'll end up talking about the Mongols on Friday. So this is just a real quick overview of the Sui, the Tang, and the Song, just so you can kind of see things that are staying the same, which are continuities, and then things that are changing. Like I said, outsiders is always going to be a continuity. All right, so make sure you have this in your notebook, because there will be a notebook check at some point in the future, so I can make sure you have all of this stuff. But like I said, this is just our real quick overview of changes and continuities in China.